The Jet Age live on KEXP, sounding amazing, and you can see them tonight in Seattle at the High Dive. A wonderful end to another beautiful day in the Emerald City. It's great having you here.
Thanks for having us.
Listeners have been totally looking forward to it. So many emails, it's hard to believe the day has finally come.
Wow. It's hard to believe there are that many emails.
Woohoo.
Well, it makes me wonder, speaking of emails, what has, and live shows, what has been the response to your very courageous and exciting album? You definitely took on, you bit off a very big topic there, and you're to be lauded for that. And talking about the responsibility of us as citizens of a country to just, take a stand for something, and maybe not the direct stand that you take in the album.
No. Thank you for making that distinction.
But it's definitely a powerful statement about the war, and the entire album covers that topic.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about, I know that you sort of broke the ground for that in the Breathless album, maybe with a song, but you just went full force on this new one.
Yeah, I think there's a song on our first record, Breathless, I Gave Up My Justice and Reason, and I think that encapsulates, I can actually slot into this record quite easily, and I think sort of the first time I've written something political that I felt comfortable singing, because I tend to not like, polemical songs. And then when it came time to write this record, I had sort of 3 disparate songs written, and I realized they sort of told a story with those 3. There's a character arc right there. And so as I wrote music, the lyrics sort of went into filling in the gaps, and that's how I reached, sort of the idea, hey, this record tells a story, and this is the story. And hopefully it seems to have worked. The reaction has been good. I mean, people seem to get it. And so I feel like it's been understood, and that was important. So,
and you have a main character that definitely has a duality in his character there, covering off a whole range of emotions. I mean, love, I think, is at the base of it all, but fear and anger. But you, even though you're talking about a very timely and volatile topic, you don't really talk about any specific incidents. Other than the incident that the story is about,
right.
you keep it about the emotion of the character.
Right. And I think that's, I think that's the most, I'm off mic. I think that's the most important element. The emotional component is the most important part, because it's sort of, I think hopefully it's not a timeless question, but it's certainly, I don't want to date it, I don't want this record to not be worth listening to in 5 years. I mean, hopefully the topic will not be as topical in 5 years, but so I think when you talk about emotions, that's more universal, and I think that way the songs individually stand up alone outside the context of the record, and I want them to do that. I didn't want people to have to listen to the whole record to enjoy it. I want each song to be enjoyable. And again, I think the emotions are really sort of the more universal component anyhow, and I'd rather talk about emotions than plot points.
Did the storyline or the topic at all drive the actual music itself? Because that's not a huge departure for the band.
Right. No, it didn't. I think the emotional content is why my songs have always been emotional, hopefully. So, but lyrically, it really helped me focus on the lyrics. It's like, well, okay, if this song, if the music can, elicits a certain emotion for me, how does that emotion fit into the storyline? So that was how they sort of were synthesized.
Well, speaking about the music, it feels like this band can go really in any direction. You've touched on a variety of musical styles in this band and also in the Hurricane Lambs. Do you have new ideas already, both lyrically and musically, for even another album?
Musically tons, lyrically none.
All right.
Lyrically I'm spent, but we've got a lot of music to workshop when we get home. And then some of it will be a little different. And I don't feel we can sort of do anything musically, which sounds really pretentious as I say it during a radio set. But we feel like we have a lot of ground to cover together, and I think the stuff we're working up, it's building on the base, but it feels like we're stretching a little bit, and it feels good. So.
It's really fun to try to reproduce a live sound in a really tight 3-piece, and you do that really well on the album. But I have read interviews where you've talked about wanting to have fun in the studio and try some new things, and I wonder how you sort of straddle that live sort of active 3-piece magic and wanting to kind of play around with new equipment and new sounds.
Yeah, it's what happens is it happens on both records, and I think, all right, the first record less so, but then this one I thought, all right, we've proven we're a 3-piece. Now we can sort of throw on the bells and whistles. But I feel like we have such a busy live sound as a 3-piece. Every time I would add a synthesizer or a fifth backing vocal or whatever, or another tambourine, it just got to be too much. So I sort of feel like we're pretty strong as a three-piece, and where stuff makes sense to fit in, we fit it in. But I think, apart from the songwriting and recording, just when you're producing it, you got to kind of think, all right, it may be fun to do this as a musician, but is it going to be fun to listen to with that much cacophony, say?
And then it's probably always nice to be able to record music that you can reproduce in a live setting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty
absolutely.
accurately. Well, speaking of a live setting tonight, the Jet Age playing at the High Dive, and a couple more songs for us.
Great.
Still live in studio.